Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cryptid Conversations from the Legends Cave. I'm your host, Brother Blue. With me today, my wonderful group of amateur cryptozoologists. We have Torsten. We have the always adorable Jasper. And the queen of squirrels, Michelle.
Or Agent of Chaos. I like
Agent
both.
of Chaos. I like that one too.
Yeah. But yes,
Um, we have a very special announcement real quick before we get started. Today, Saturday, today is my godmother's birthday, and I know she's an avid watcher and listener of the podcast. So I would like to reach out and just say, happy birthday, Auntie.
Happy birthday, Linda.
Happy birthday.
All right. So today's topic stems from the original 1921 article of big footprints seen in the snows of Nepal.
Big footprints, not big footprints.
Big
Footprints. Big,
footprints.
comma, space footprints.
Yes. Big, comma, space footprints seen in the snows of Nepal, and also large, darkly colored creatures that wandered in those mountains. The Abominable Snowman.
Comma the Yeti.
AKA the Yeti. AKA the reason why it's called the Abominable Snowman is because they butchered what these guys said, what the Nepalese people said it was called. So,
why are you talking about me?
yes, we're talking about you, Mr. Abominable Snowman.
Okay.
So,
he's going to sit right there. Okay.
in Tibet, you have this large, hairy humanoid creature that is said to prey on yaks and yak herders.
I've met a few of those large, hairy guys here in the United States.
We're not talking about the U.S. version. We're not talking about me. We're talking about...
I was talking about the Marines.
Oh, well, Marines, yeah, we can talk about them too. But anyway, they're a different breed altogether. I call them the woodbookers.
Oh,
anyway.
Goodness gracious.
But when it comes to the creature known as the abominable snowman, it is said that this creature can kill a yak with one blow from its mighty fist into its neck. So, what kind of creature is this? Is this an offshoot of the quote-unquote Gigantopithecus from the region? Is this Bigfoot's more elusive cousin? We're going to answer those questions in a little bit more. But first, we're going to go for a little bit of pop culture. Not from Michelle today.
What? Crazy.
We're going to go for a little bit of pop culture from my man Torsten. Torsten, what do you got for us with Yeti and pop culture?
Well, quite a lot, actually. From the earliest one that I could find is all the way back in 1954. And I do apologize because I'm going to butcher this. It's Pekka Japakta Lumna Jalala.
That is an Indian one, yes.
Yeah, which is Pete and the Runt on the trail of the Abominable Snowman. It's a Finnish comedy film.
Okay.
And it's part of an entry of 13 long films called Pekka Pupa.
Okay.
Lots of TV shows, including Doctor Who, have had the Yeti or Abominable Snowman in it. including the 20th anniversary special, The Five Doctors, The Web of Fear from 1968, The Abominable Snowman of 1967.
Okay.
There's some horror films, The Werewolf and the Yeti from 1975.
Oh, don't forget the 2006 Yeti, A Love Story.
I hadn't got there yet.
Okay. That was a terribly emphasis on the terribly hilarious movie.
Yeah. 2001, you have a Yeti in Monsters, Inc.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Fun fact. Who voiced the Yeti in Monsters Inc.? Do we know?
John Rathensberger.
Absolutely.
I know that
from-
because I've got it written down.
The mailman.
Cliff from Cheers. Cliff
Yes.
from Cheers. Kate, yes, Kate, yes. Yes, Kate. Cliff from Cheers.
And as Michelle said, Yeti, A Love Story from 2006. The last film that I could find, or TV series, was in 2019, which was called The Missing Link, which is an animated film directed by a Mr. Chris Butler. Features a kingdom of Yeti that live in the Himalayas and are led by a paranoid Yeti elder. And it's voiced by none other than Emma Thompson.
Aww.
There are the Mickey Mouse Funhouse has also done episodes on this as well. In literature, we have Goosebumps, the teenage horror series. Wild Man, a song by Kate Bush. It is based on a Yeti, and Alternative History by Harry Turtledove.
I found a wild Yeti. Hey.
There have also been 2 radio shows.
Oh.
One from 1955, an episode of The Goon Show, which was written by Spike Milligan and Eric Sykes, and a 1953 radio thriller series, Escape. The Yeti also makes its appearance in video games. From Spyro, Year of the Dragon, Skylanders, Spyro 2, Titan Quest, Far Cry, and Sky 3.
Don't forget
Also-
Uncharted.
Yes. Also, Uncharted, Plants vs. Zombie, Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, and Mega Man Star Force 2. And my favorite depiction of the Yeti in pop culture is from The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
And my favorite video game with the Yeti is Plants vs. Zombies at the end. One of the final monsters.
I don't think I've ever made it that far in Plants vs.
Oh.
Zombies.
Oh, it's so fun.
Don't think I ever
So
have
fun.
either.
So
Hmm.
fun. And
Um,
and last but not least, Disney World.
Yes.
The
Disney
the
Walt
Yeti.
Disney World Attraction Expedition Everest
Yep.
at Animal Kingdom.
That one, I think
That thing had so many problems. It
destroyed
was
my back last time I rode it.
It was supposed to be an animatronic that moved around and scared the hell out of people. It worked for a while, and then they were having so many issues with it that they just moved it to a section and made flashing lights to make it look like it was moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great depiction of the Yeti, because when people think of the Abominable Snowman, they think it's all white and gray and like it blends into the snow and everything. The actual historical depictions of the Yeti and Abominable Snowman state that it's not all white. It's actually more of a dark brown to and occasionally looking very light in terms of like being bleached by the sun in the area. Because I mean, think about it, it's a mountainous region, it gets a lot of sun. But you're also sitting there going, well, wait a minute, it gets a lot of sun, there's a lot of snow around there. Yeah, you still get a lot of sun there, but it will bleach your fur, your hair, your whatever into looking a certain way. So I mean, we see it with bears too. Bears
Right.
at higher elevations tend to be a little bit lighter than the bears down in lower elevations.
So
So
some of the early folks who brought the descriptions back of the Yeti when it was first really started to be talked about, there were two different versions. One had that like reddish, the ruddy brown, almost like a muddy color, and the other ones had more of a dark gray, light gray combination. What you're talking about, sun bleached.
yeah.
Yeah, where like the outside, highlights. It's Yeti natural highlights.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
think about it this way: like I'm a dirty blonde, but yet during the
You are
summertime,
you are a
my
dirty blonde.
hair bleach blonde when I had hair. You know,
Some notable other areas. The Yetis is the mascot of Cleveland Community College in Shelby, North Carolina.
Of course they are.
Of course.
Nepal has a domestic airline called Yeti Airlines. And
cash in on that, man.
And Utah, when they are looking for their NHL team name, one of the finalists is the Utah Yeti.
And don't forget the most famous Yeti variant of all, the Wampa.
The Wampa from Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yes.
Although, and there are other types of Wampa that aren't just snowbound.
Yes.
There are actually brown Wampa that live in forested areas of certain neighboring moons in Star Wars. Yeah, but the classic one is all white, yes, just like the one that Michelle is playing with over there because she's having fun.
And that's all I have for you on pop culture in the Yeti.
You missed one.
Oh, Jasper calling you out, sir.
From Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. Bumbles, the most iconic Abominable Snowman.
How could you miss that, sir?
Didn't miss. You didn't put it in the notes.
You should have.
I guess you really bumbled that.
You really bumbled that one there, bud.
Good job, Jasper.
Can we bumble anything else today? Anyway,
not Yeti.
Bumble you over the freaking head.
Hey.
We'll do it later, not Yeti.
Listen, CTA is a real thing. Don't make me go for the rest of my life. Hey, so in pop culture, it's been seen, but there's also been like really low budget movies, and I'm talking like low budget movies depicting a Yeti like creature. One of them being the Snow Beast.
There was a lot more that I came across. I was just trying to be selective.
Oh, dude, don't even be selective. Let's run the full gambit.
Whole list, we would be here for 45 minutes just talking about every depiction of any sort of snow creature. Yeah. It would be hours.
All right, good point. But when it comes to the Abominable Snowman, everybody always depicts it as being a large white colored creature, with white fur. It's just Okay, cool, whatever. I mean, I'm sure there are some variations of it where, as they get older, they get white. You know, it's like anybody. I mean, my beard used to be brown, now it's fucking
Well,
white.
I
So
I'd
Gray.
say it's more
Gray.
sort of on a polar bear type of thing.
yeah. So
Polar bears look white but aren't actually white.
now I want to bring up something from 1957. All right, and I found this quite interesting. In 1957, they found a footprint, and they made a footprint casting, and it was 7 inches across by 10 inches long. All right, and they said it was from the Abominable Snowman, which I'm looking at the thing right now, and honestly, it's a very wide footprint.
Yeah, that is 6 inches across right there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
Only 10 inches long.
10 inches long. So it could have been from a juvenile, but
So
7 inches wide. That's a big fucking foot.
okay, so I have the Occam's razor version of this. There is a good chance that that footprint came from some sort of bear, like the sun bear or one of the other like misunderstood. It's in a region. So if we're looking at where the region is, there's kind of like the mix of cultures where they come into different areas where they may have
Yes.
not seen
Okay.
such a creature before. So it could have been the footprint of just about anything that no one had seen in the 50s before in that area.
Okay.
It could have been the sun melting it out and
Now,
up.
okay. Now I'm gonna clarify a little bit more here. 5 toes were originally present at the time that they started to cast this footprint, but because the mud was a little bit loose, 2 of the toes ended up getting blurred together, making it look more of a like a bear footprint rather than a human footprint. Now, not too long ago, a couple years back, Josh Gates from Expedition Unknown
Josh
went.
Gates. Yes.
Great man, great guy. I love his take on certain things. Found a footprint that could not be explained. It was not a human-sized footprint. This thing was huge, and the press conference he did when he found this footprint was just the size of the foot was massive. They
It was
actually,
also conical shaped, so
yeah,
wider in the front at the toes.
yeah, it had that distinct depression in the center of the foot that when you're going down and you're putting pressure on. Dr. Jeff Meldrum talks about this all the time, where the heel hits the ground, everything will go down flat, but then as it's starting to lift, you'll see that ridge
Yeah.
that
The
happens, and
yeah.
that dermal
So-
ridge, and it presses its toes into the dirt to move forward. That was present in this cast.
I do want to point out, I didn't hear you say it specifically, but this was not a footprint that was found in the snow.
It was not found in the snow.
It was not found in the snow. It was Rocky Creek bed.
Rocky Creek
area.
bed that they found it. Yeah.
So it had a better chance of being a well preserved. It had a better chance of preserving it as a track than one that was found in the snow.
Yeah. And prior to finding that track, they had heard a lot of noise coming from that area of breaking branches, similar Sasquatch type behavior. It's said that a lot of the Abominable Snowman sightings, most of the time when these things are seen, they'll make an uproar and then disappear and then just go off on their own if you don't leave. If you leave, they'll leave too. But if you stay, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have an encounter with one of these things that you're not going to like. They're said to be extremely violent. I mean, being able to take out a yak with one punch to the throat. I mean, that means you're snapping, the spine at the neck with one hit. I mean, heck, even boxers would have a hard time doing that.
So while we're on the
Mhm.
topic of who I can only assume will be knighted at some point, Sir Josh Gates, because
I hope he does.
he has my little cold dead heart. While he was over there, he was able to get in touch with the monks that are in the monastery of Kumjung. I think it's Kumjung.
Kumju.
And the monks in Kumjung have a relic that they've had in their possession for quite some time that is known as the Yeti scalp.
But they also have a Yeti paw, too.
They have several items, but while Josh Gates may his name venerate in future, he was able to convince them to get a sample of the Yeti scalp and prove that it was not a Yeti scalp.
Yeah, it was actually it was actually from a yak.
Yes.
That Yeti scalp. It's finally been proven that it was from a yak. The part of the yak, I am not going to say what it is.
No, we're not gonna say what it is.
Because we do not want to get demonetized. We don't want this being hidden.
Junk.
Yeah, well, part of the junk.
Part of that, yes.
Yeah. It's part of the male yak's anatomy. We'll put it that way.
Yak.
Anyway, yak. But the paw, the hand that they supposedly have, Josh Gates even said he's never seen anything like that.
He was unable to touch it or do any testing on that.
That they would not let him touch.
Drew the line.
Yeah, they drew the line there, but it was way larger than any human hand. So we'll see what what happens. Okay,
Jasper usually has
Jasper,
some good stories.
Do we have any good stories today about the Yeti, Abominable Snowman?
We've got a little description, a little of the original story, and then a sighting.
Perfect.
Okay, give us the original. We've been giving kind of descriptions of it this whole time. Give us the original sighting.
Let me find the start of it.
We're so prepared. Look at us.
I know. Today's one of those days, folks.
Let me distract. You ready?
Yes.
Perfect.
In the meantime, while you guys are watching, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a great deal. And make sure that notification bell is on for any time we upload anything.
And as our illustrious Kate, remember to breathe.
Yes, remember, breathe, go nice and slow.
One full sentence for 42 minutes. You got this, girl. You got this.
As an asthmatic, I'm already bad at breathing.
All right, let's rock and roll. Kid, come on. Nice and easy, slow and easy. Slow and steady.
The Yeti is a character in ancient legends and folklore in Himalaya people. In most of the tales, the Yeti is a figure of danger. Author Shiva Dakwa told BBC. The moral of the stories is often a warning to avoid dangerous wild animals and stay close and safe within the community. Alexander the Great demanded to see a Yeti when he conquered the Indus Valley in 326 BC. But according to the National Geographic, local people told him they were unable to present one because the creatures could not survive at that low of an altitude. In modern times, when Westerners started traveling to the Himalayas, the myth became more sensational, according to the BBC in 1921. A journalist named Henry Newman interviewed a group of British explorers who had just returned from the Mount Everest expedition. This might not actually be the OG story. I might have been mistaken.
It is the OG story. It's just it's that particular writer's. I know exactly what article you're reading. The guy who wrote the article wrote about the OG story, and where we get the Abominable Snowman from is his interpretation of what was actually said by the Sherpas.
Yeah, the
on
Tibetan
what it
word
was.
for that is metokongami. That's,
Yeah, which means the smelly, hairy man or something like that.
Man, bear, snowman thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Man, bear, snowman.
Man, bear, snowman. That's it.
Yes, that is also in here. Back to the story. The explorers told the journalists they had discovered some very large footprints on the mountain, to which their guides had attributed to metokongami, essentially meaning man, bear, snowman. Newman got the snowman part right, but mistranslated meadow as filthy. Then he seemed to think abominable sounded even better and used the more menacing name in the paper. Thus, the legend was born. As for the sighting, it was from a gentleman named Major Bill Tillman in North India in 1937.
And later, Sir Bill Tillman.
Yeah. Also, 4th century Alexander the Great.
And also,
sighting.
There were also sightings from Mongolian.
Genghis Khan. It's pronounced with a ch, not a g.
Well, I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan sounds like something different.
That's how it's pronounced.
It still sounds like something different.
Mom says it's Jasper's turn.
Okay. While contouring round the foot of the ridge between these two feeder glaciers, this is from their point of view, not my point of view. I didn't go through and edit it this time. While contouring round the foot of the ridge between these two feeder glaciers, we saw the snow tracks. Pardon me. We saw in the snow the tracks of the Abominable Snowman. They were 8 inches in diameter, 18 inches apart, almost circular without signs of toe or heel. They were 3 or 4 days old, so melting must have altered the outline. The most remarkable thing was that they were in a straight line, one behind the other with no stagger right or left, like a bird's spoor. A 4-footed animal walking slowly puts its hind foot in the track of its forefoot, but there are always some marks of overlapping, nor are the tracks immediately in front of each other. However many legs it was, the bird or beast was heavy. The tracks were nearly a foot deep. We followed them for a mile when they disappeared on some rock. The tracks came from a glacier pool where the animal had evidently drunk, and the next day we picked up the same spoor on the north side of the snow lake. The Sherpas judged them to belong to the smaller type of snowman, or Yeti, as they call them, of which there are apparently 2 varieties. The smaller, whose spoor we were following, which feeds on men, while his larger brother confines himself to the diet of the yaks. My remark that no one had been here for 30 years and that he must have been devilishly hungry did not amuse the Sherpas as much as expected. The jest was considered ill-timed, as it was perhaps. The 3 of us standing forlorn and alone in the great expanse of the snow, looking at the strange tracks, like so many Robinson Crusoes. Tillman speculates that the nature of the creature, a one-legged carnivorous bird weighing on perhaps a ton, might make similar tracks, but it seems unnecessary to search for a new species when we have a perfectly satisfactory one at hand in the form of the Abominable Snowman. New perhaps to science, but old in legend.
Okay. Now, there have been multiple expeditions up there and multiple accounts of what is seen up there. I'm one to believe that there is something there. I mean, the smaller one attacking humans, that makes sense because a yak is a little too much for a smaller one to handle. But taking the bigger ones taking out yaks, I mean, it makes sense. A lot more food. Plus, we're greasy.
True.
Okay. So Jasper, what kind of sighting do we have?
That was the sighting.
That was it? Just that was just the one sighting?
Yeah, that
Oh,
that
man.
it was kind of disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah, that's kind of a disappointing sighting. But oh well. Oh well.
Move.
It was more of a track sighting than a creature sighting itself.
Yeah. There was supposedly another sighting where a gentleman was traveling up the mountainside. It was him and one Sherpa, and they went looking for a missing yak, and found the yak in being eaten by one of these creatures. I don't remember the name of the sighting. It was I saw it on a Monster Quest episode actually. But when it comes to seeing these things, I mean, I don't think we're ever going to truly know what they are.
No.
Likely not.
So there is on Reddit, there's Bigfoot sightings, Yeti sightings area. There's one from 1942 where a group of Siberian prison camp escapees went through China, through the Gobi Desert, and into the Himalayas in World War II. And they were, what's the word that I'm looking for? Harassed by a large bipedal, off tan brown looking bear, is how they described it. But the way that they described it, like the broad shoulders, the throwing rocks, the get out of my area kind of situation, it definitely has Yeti all over it.
Yeah. That sounds interesting, actually.
Yeah. So the book is called The Long Walk.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting piece. I have not read the book. Now I'm going to go and find it.
Right, because now you want to read it.
Yeah, now I want to read the whole thing. So, but yeah, it's got some screenshots of the actual pages in the book. So page 250 to 280 talks through the story of where they found, or when they were found by the Yeti.
Okay.
So kind of interesting.
Very nice. All right, so that's something to go look for in your local libraries or on Amazon or whatever.
I also found some interesting little tidbits of information. I just want to, if Jasper is done with her stories before I break in.
Yes, I'm done.
Okay.
All right, Michelle, you're up. What do you find? What do you got for us from the internet?
There is not a slew, like there are 10 additional names of the Yeti that is subject to different areas of Tibet and China in that area.
Okay.
So Miche, Miche, which is awesome because you add an LLE on the end, it's me, is Tibetan, is something that they refer to, it translates to man bear. The Zute, which can also translate to cattle bear. There is the Migoi, wild man. That is Tibetan. And then there's the Nepali Bun Manchi, which a lot of the Sherpas the people of the Sherpa culture, the Sherpa nation, is what they call the Yeti, because it literally translates to jungle man.
Okay.
And Murka is another name that the Sherpas also call this thing. Also means wild man. And there is a very interesting local legend in that area of Tibet that states that anyone who sees the Murka will die within 1 year.
Interesting.
And
Terrifying.
yeah. And then the Chinese also call it Shu Ren, which is snowman.
Yeah. What was the one that you said for Jungle Man?
Bun Manchi.
Boon Munchie. Now, for those that are wondering why they would call it a Jungle Man, um, the base and up a little bit in elevation of those mountains, of that mountain range, is all jungle, which makes sense. I mean, it would also make sense is that's where it would actually live, rather than living on the side of a mountain in freezing cold weather all the time.
True. True.
A lot more things to eat, water, vegetation, things of that nature. I mean, they can't just survive just by eating a yak. They got to have other stuff.
I wouldn't want to survive on just eating a yak either.
Plus,
Sounds gross.
nobody likes drinking snow. Plus, that's bad for you.
Especially
Don't do
yellow
that.
snow.
Unless you're the
It's not
abominable
lemon.
snowman
It's
from
not
Walt
lemon. I'm
Disney.
telling you right now,
Not
it's not lemon. Not lemon flavored. Let's see. Have I eaten yak? No, I've not eaten yak.
I'm pretty sure I ate horse when I was living in Sardinia.
Not surprised they actually eat horse in Sardinia. It's like eating hay. Kate says yak is like eating hay. Evidently, I have no idea.
Probably pretty stringy, dry.
Probably.
I
would picture a yak being very fatty, considering the fact it's got to live in
I
that
would
big.
assume they would be pretty gamey.
That's the
That
word I
too.
was looking for.
Gamey.
Gamey.
Yeah.
Gamey, because they're not being fed like traditional like animal feed. They're eating whatever they can find, so it's definitely not gonna have that like
They taste like hay.
farm grown taste.
Well, I mean, who knows? But I mean, if it's one of the things that these creatures like to eat, I mean, why not? Like, I mean, it would make sense if that was their primary meat source.
Oh, okay. So, just found this little tidbit of information. In 1960, Sir Edmund Hillary, we all know who that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
One of the most famous
one of the
modern
first
explorers.
explorers to climb Mount Everest.
One of the first white guys to do it.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So in 1960-61, he put together an expedition through the Himalayas in order to collect and analyze evidence for the Yeti. And he convinced the Kumjung monastery folks to let him borrow the Yeti scalp and take it back to London for a bit so they could look at it more closely under whatever circumstances.
But there's also the story that Jimmy Stewart was working for the FBI, and when he went to Nepal, he stole the Yeti scalp, brought it back to the U.S., had it analyzed, brought it back, the whole 9 yards. So, like, you're gonna hear stories like this all over.
Yes. Have you ever heard of the Langer monkey?
Langer monkey.
Yes.
Sounds interesting.
So apparently, some of the sightings are connected to the langur monkey. Tibetan blue bear, Himalayan brown bear, and the Himalayan red bear are all connected to possible sightings. But the langur monkey is really small, but it does have that like tan white fur.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't see mistaking something the size of my cat Dexter Morgan with a Yeti.
No, I can't see that either.
No.
Um,
You cute, buddy, but no.
now there's the theory is still out there, of course, and it's the theory that I hate, that it could be you know, it could be related to the ancestor of Gigantopithecus, based on the region, which would make sense. I'll give it that one. That one makes sense based on the region. My only thing is that, I mean, this is Bigfoot's, Asian cousin. I mean, you also have stories of the Yeren from
Yes.
mainland China, in the forests of China, the Chinese wild man. The orang pendek. You have all these other versions of what could possibly be the same thing, but you never know what exactly is steeped in truth and steeped in myth, or steeped in a pile of shit. Anyway, my opinion is these are the ones that stayed in that area. The ones that we have in North America are the ones that migrated, came across the Bering Land Bridge, and came here. Now, why people went across the Bering Land Bridge and came to the Americas, we don't know. We don't know. But there is a theory that maybe something was hunting us.
Like in the movie Predator.
Well,
Which Predator movie?
Wait, no,
every
Predators.
Predator.
Predator.
It's
it's
every Predator movie.
Yeah.
They're always hunting us.
The one where they're hunting everybody.
They hunt everybody.
Under the ice.
Oh, that's Alien versus Predator.
Oh, yeah.
Which was my introduction to the Alien versus Predator series.
There's a great book that I've listened to on Audible. And it's called De-Evolution.
Thumbs up.
And it's written by Mel Brooks' son. And honestly, I think the theories are plausible in that book. Some of the theories that he puts out there. I started looking into said theories, and after I listened to this book, and I'll tell you this, I'm very, very open to the fact that it's possible Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it, Yeren, whatever, followed us across the way because they viewed us as
prey.
food.
Right.
We were prey.
Source. So,
but because of our ability to group together in large numbers, our ability to fight back as a group, and be a cohesive unit, kind of drove them to leave us alone and go hide in the north and just live off of animals. But in an event, let's say like Mount St. Helens, you had Lahars that cut off whole communities from other places.
Yep.
Who's to say that they wouldn't de-evolve with lack of prey to go back after humans?
All right.
For the easy lunch.
Are you ready for my theory?
Go ahead.
All right. So, fact, orangutan fossils have been found in the Himalayas.
Mm-hmm.
So, possibility exists that Gigantopithecus might have coexisted in that area with orangutan, who may have even bred with the orangutan if the puzzle pieces of the DNA allowed them to procreate and created some sort of hybrid orangutan Gigantopithecus thing that was possibly smaller than what we would consider to be the Gigantopithecus. Maybe even that smaller animal, after the others became extinct because of, you know, lack of food source or whatever the case may be, maybe they adapted better to live in the Himalayas because of different DNA that's passed down through years of specifically breeding with the ones who survived in that area, which now we have Yetis.
I'll give that theory some credence. I mean, that it's not unheard of.
I do like that theory.
I mean,
but also you got to think about it this way: Gigantopithecus is theorized to be the progenitor of the orangutan line.
Yes, but the fact that the two different species did exist at the same time in the same location based on, well, the orangutan definitely existed in this location at this time.
Yeah.
That the supposed Yeti or Gigantopithecus was also there at that time in the, what was it, like 10,000 years?
Something like that.
So, you know, over years and years of breeding, it could have, but it also gives us the great idea of the, you know, the, what if Gigantopithecus mated with other animals and gave us different versions of this thing that we have as Bigfoot, as orang pendek, as all of these different things. It's just, it's exactly what happens when people from different areas intermingle their DNAs together. We get different types of features and colors and everything. So what if it's that? I mean, yeah, it is.
But you also got to think about also the circumstances of conception. I mean, you would have to think about coming down to genetically.
Yeah.
Would they be able to procreate?
Would
with
they
each
be
other?
able to procreate?
Would they be able to? I mean, you can't, you know, have an orangutan and a gorilla mate. It just,
No, because
they
they're
just don't
different,
work.
they're
They're so
different species. They would have
Yeah.
to be in the same, you know, the hierarchy of
It'd
the
have to be in the same
subspecies for it to
genus.
work. Right. So I don't like to just, you know, wholeheartedly go, yeah, that's a bunch of BS. I think not everybody who sees a thing is lying about it. What they see,
I don't think
how
I don't
they
think
see it.
I don't think anybody's lying about what they
Right.
see.
You see what
To be
you
honest with
see.
You see what you
but
see, but there is elements of, could it be psychosis of the mind?
Right. Your mind could be playing. What is it? What is the word when you look at like a cloud and you see a bunny? Like it's your brain.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name
I don't remember the word
actual
for
word.
it, but your brain is going to see something that is relevant or
Absolutely.
something that you know, familiar.
It's gonna make sense of the shape you're looking at.
Yeah.
It's like when you look into the forest and you see a face in a
Yeah.
tree line, but the face really isn't there. It's just the way the leaves have formed to create a facial structure. Or it is the face, and you're going, "Oh shit, there's something there." You know,
Pareidolia.
pareidolia. Thank you.
Pareidolia.
You've also got motivated perception.
Yeah, and motivated
Absolutely.
perception.
Scototomatism. The mind sees what it.
If you see
what it
something,
sees.
your brain is going to tell you, okay,
This is
you've
what you're
never
seeing.
seen that thing before, so it must be some sort of new thing.
Oh yeah.
But realistically, you're looking at it from an odd angle, or you're looking at it from a perspective that is kind of distorting the features that you should be able to see. It's the same thing with the face on Mars. Everyone thought we had a face on
Absolutely.
Mars until you looked at it with a little bit of a side, and it's just a couple of hills that were, shadows.
Yeah, just shadows off of hills.
Right.
Um,
So everyone sees what they see, but like there are possibilities. And until
Yeah.
we catch one, find a dead body, find some sort of DNA, there's no proof to disprove it.
Yeah. I mean, one of the many theories of Sasquatch slash these things is that they bury their dead, or they eat their dead, or they bury their dead in lakes by filling them with rocks.
Burn. They could burn their dead.
That I mean, there's been a couple of incidents out there where people have come across caves, found things that didn't make any sense, like the stacked rocks, this, that, and the other thing. Found things inside on a natural cave shelf. Found skulls of animals sitting on top of those cave shelves, and it makes you think like these things are very intelligent. They can do whatever they choose to do. But if something's taking trophies like that,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be the first one to be like, nah, I'm out. Because not for
Right.
nothing, I know I'm tough, but I ain't tough enough to take on something that can possibly rip my arms off and beat me to death with them before I bleed out.
Fun. And I'm just going to conclude with several people have found things.
Yeah.
In Tibet, in the Himalayas, in everywhere, with DNA samples, hair samples. You don't know, scat. They take all these things back, and so far there's been mixed identification between different types of bears, mostly like black bears, brown bears, Asiatic black bears, Tibetan and Himalayan bears. But none of the DNA has been confirmed to be like 100% that's what this is. It's always a
Yeah.
mix. It's
Yeah.
always a mix. So in my scientific brain area, if there's never a 100%, there's always a mix. So we have some crossbreeding in some sort of evolutionary trail that's giving us new animals that we maybe just don't have names for yet.
I mean, there's always a possibility. I mean, that's
Yeah.
always been my opinion. There's always a possibility of finding something.
Yep.
I mean, what do you guys think?
Believe there's something up there, but what it is, I don't know.
Hmm.
Because and especially at that altitude, as you get higher up there, you start seeing funny things anyway, because there's a lack of oxygen. Lack of oxygen to the brain is going to make you see weird and wonderful things.
That's why when you're climbing a mountain, you go up a certain amount and then you go back down and rest a little bit.
Actually, you stay there and you level off and you allow your body to react to it.
Acclimatized to.
According to the documentary that I just watched on climbing Mount Everest, Jasper is correct. You go up and then you come back down, acclimate, then you go up further and come back down, acclimate. It's a step. So
Yeah,
basically by the
but-
time you've climbed Everest, you've climbed 3 Everests.
Yeah, well, I'm not climbing Everest ever in my life, so I could care
But
less.
you also, like me, do not have the $40,000
Yeah, no.
in the fee
Yeah.
just to pay to Tibet to be able to climb it. Not
Yeah, 'cause-
including the $50,000 going to cost you in Sherpas and flights.
Yeah, to climb Mount Everest, you have to pay a $40,000 fee, and that's for the helicopter to come get your dead body.
Maybe.
You have to maybe. Then you also have to pay all the Sherpas that are going to go with you. That's about at least 10 people to carry supplies. So you're talking about possibly another 50 grand.
It's,
Yeah.
I'm good.
it's not a cheap trip to do.
It is not. And honestly, I'm not doing it. I'm not climbing no fucking mountain. I don't need to climb a mountain. You know why? I got mountains over here that I'll fucking walk around on. I live on the side of a mountain. I don't give a damn.
See, I've only climbed one mountain
It's-
before, and it was like halfway up Mount Rainier.
It's gone down. It's gone down. So from the Nepal side, April to May are the only times that you can climb it. It's $15,000 just the fee to pay to Nepal to access it.
Mhm.
From the Tibet side, it's 15,000 to 18,000 per person with a 4-person minimum. And then anywhere the gear, the guide services, because you have to have a guide and a Sherpa and all travel and all the stuff. It can cost anywhere from $30,000 to over $200,000.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. But there's also some new rules that went into effect in the 2024 climbing season that said what goes up must come down because of all of the trash, like the oxygen bottles and the bags of poo
Mhm.
that people just leave there because it whatever. Yeah. So huge.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Huge.
going. I'm not going up there. I'm not doing it.
Hey, no
Okay.
murder. Stop it.
So, with all that being said, let's do let's get a general consensus here. The Abominable Snowman. Does it exist? Hands
Yeah.
up for hands up for yay.
I think it exists in a form. Is it the Abominable Snowman? Is it the Yeti? I don't know, but there is something there.
Okay. Jasper, what do you think? What do you think?
She said
I
yes.
do, in fact, believe that it's there.
Okay. Thorson, you said you believe. I believe. Because the truth is always out there.
Oh
As the
goodness,
as
Fox
the
Boulder.
as the X-Files always say. But that's gonna bring us to a close here on this episode of Cryptid Conversations. Join us next week as we talk about little known alien sightings, UFO sightings, and this is what I'm saying: little known, not like the big major ones that hit like mass media and everybody knows about. I want little known alien sightings.
Oh, that's you lot over there then.
Listen, you guys have alien sightings over there. You just don't. Your government just doesn't acknowledge it. But little known alien sightings, alien craft sightings, whatever they're calling them nowadays. As far as I'm concerned, they're still UFOs.
You have at least one that I know about. Where is it? Rendlesham Forest.
Yeah, I think that's one of them over there. Plus, I have one that's not too far away from me over here in Wanacue Reservoir. So, and it was seen twice, not once in a year, twice in a year. So they visited the same spot twice.
We have some local stuff that I'm gonna pick up from Virginia
And
Beach.
we're going to cover that next week. So, with that being said, Jasper, say goodbye to the folks.
The day of words. I hope y'all have a lovely day and a great rest of your night.
Words, Polonius. Thorsten.
What?
You know what?
Oh, time for me to say goodbye to the peoples.
Yes.
Everybody, have a wonderful rest of your day, or weekend, and upcoming week. And see your asses back here next week.
Michelle.
See you later, alligator.
In a while, crocodile. We'll catch you next week, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as usual, right here on Cryptid Conversations from the Legends Cave. And if you can't be good, be bad. And if you're going to be bad, at least be fucking good at it. We'll catch you next week. Stay blessed. Stay amazing. We'll see you then.
Peace out, Girl Scout.